Hi everybody, today is Tuesday, March 16th, and just checking in. Let me see if there's anything in my handy dandy notebook, a la Blue's Clues, to talk about on today. Let's see, here are my notes. I guess I could give you guys an update. I don't want to do that yet because there's nothing good to say. I had some unexpected expenses this month. So my financial plans are like, it threw them, I'm not gonna say it threw it off. It changed the way I thought things were gonna happen financially this month. That's still okay. I was able to make a couple of financial decisions that I'm excited about. I'm learning or reminding myself that as much as I want to be debt free, I know that it's going to take a miracle. I'm going to need God's help. And so I don't want to be stingy and selfish about finances, so that, because why would God help a stingy person? Like, I don't want to cut myself off from a financial miracle by either doubt or being selfish. And so there have been opportunities to give and sow in different areas, whether as a ministry or even just into people's lives, and I want to take those opportunities because I want to prove to God that I can be trusted. Again, it's His money, ultimately. Like, I know people talk about, I worked hard for this money, but God gave you that job. He gave you this skill set. He allowed things to happen so that you had that interview and they found you favorable. He opened doors for the experience that you had, the education you had, like all those different. So ultimately, it's God's money. And when I think back over my life, different times where God has shown Himself to be a provider and reminded me that even when I don't know where money's going to come from or how I'm going to afford something, He's made a way. I don't have any room to doubt or second guess what He's going to do or what He can do. So I think back to this one time where I had a phone, and some way or another I was gifted this phone. And I had it for a while, and then it just died. It just shut down. And in my mind, I feel like sometimes I'm a little bit of a grandma. And I was like, I don't need a cell phone. It's not that deep. I'll be okay. And I was okay for like maybe a month. I went about a month and a half without a cell phone. And then there were a few instances where I was en route somewhere, and someone needed to tell me something, and they couldn't. And it was a big mess. So I finally was like, all right, Lord, I need a cell phone. And initially my thought was, God, I trust that you are able to give me a cell phone like you did before. Please let that happen again, because I don't have the money for a new phone right now. And then a few days went by and I got impatient and I said, I'm going to just go get a phone. I don't know if I looked at it as being impatient, or if I just was like, let me not be lazy when I can't afford a phone that's of less quality than I want, but at least it's a phone. So I got a phone, and the experience was the phone I had for a few days, and I returned it, and I then still had to pay a $50 reshelving fee. Yes, a $50 reshelving fee. Which, they have their own process, so I don't know. But I was more annoyed with myself that I could have avoided all that if I just, held out a little longer, because a few days later, my great aunt called and was like, do you need a cell phone? To this day, I have that same phone that she gave me, that same free phone she gave me, that fit right into my same cell phone plan, and I could have saved myself $50 and a headache if I had just waited a few days for God to come through my aunt. So, and there are other stories like that. Like, I went on trips I didn't know how I was going to afford. God has been coming, let me tell you something. I finished undergrad. I didn't know how that was going to happen. God is, it doesn't take long for me to look back and see financial miracles in my past. So I don't want to ever shut myself off by doubt or greed, like from what I know God is already capable of doing. Now, I do ask for bigger things though. I'm like, all right, God, you can do this. Let me tell you something. This laptop that I'm recording these videos on, I didn't pay for it. This is how not tech savvy I am. I didn't even know much about this. And if someone else was telling me this was like a newer model, which I'm grateful for, but like, I didn't pay for it. This is gifted to me. I'm grateful. Like, God continues to show up. So like in terms of my finances, I don't want to be closed-fisted and close myself off from what God can do. It was either our pastor or our apostle that recently said, if there's something that happens and you can take credit for it, that means you settled and God had better for you. And in essence, what they were saying is, we sometimes ask for so little and we become content with so little, but God has like, I mean, this is God of the universe. He's limitless. Like, his abilities is limitless. Like, there's nothing he cannot do. And like, part of being free and trusting God and dreaming big is big prayers, bigger prayers. So like, my prayer to be debt free, my belief that I'm going to have an apartment and a car by the end of this year. I mean, I would love a house. Now listen, if you know me, you know I'll take a bus to visit a friend anytime. But there are definitely times where it's so much more convenient to drive. And I don't love driving, but I do recognize that it affords a certain freedom that taking the bus doesn't. And I think if I have to work outside the home, I would still probably take the bus, because I don't really like driving. But in terms of like running to the grocery store, in terms of visiting friends, in terms of when we're back in a physical building as the church, and like when we come home from Bible study and prayer, I would like to be able to drive. Now, I did like riding with the saints. That was a nice quality time thing, but yeah. So these are things I'm asking the Lord for this year, and really some of them by the end of the summer, like August. So we'll see. I'm excited, but it's going to be miraculous, whatever happens, because I'm not going to stop giving. I'm not going to stop sowing. I'm not going to stop being stretched in my faith. Yeah, this is a time for just amplified obedience, seeing what God does with that obedience. So I'm excited. So yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys later.